In 1993, AST was flying high. They were in partnerships with DEC and Dell, and of course they purchased Grid and Tandy Corporation just about the same time these came out. These are the PowerExec line of portable computers. This is their second generation of portable computers. AST Research has been known to be one of the most clever companies to come out of the 1980s. Using a non-computer business model, the company's three founders found just niche areas where no or little competition existed before. They started out making memory cards for the IBM PC and Apple II called six-pack. These expansion cards would go in a card slot. It would only provide memory at full bus speed, but provided a host of other features. While being famous for the six-pack, they also made supplemental graphics cards, small workgroup networking equipment, and in 1986, even introduced a $5,000 printer. A bargain then. By the way, that's $12,000 in 2018 dollars. Of course, there were a few competitors, but none of them could ever get the feature-price combination right. If you can find and open up the case of any IBM 5150 or 5151, you'll probably find a six-pack card inside it. The six-pack became ubiquitous with companies like Borderbund and Quarterdeck of QMM fame, making it a requirement to run their software in older machines. IBM released a host of competing products, but they cost way too much. And anyone who wanted to use an Apple II with Bank Street Writer or VisiCalc would have a six-pack too. Using what they learned, they took a huge chance and jumped into the AT clone market in 1987. While this would ultimately be their downfall, the features in the six-pack cards made the machines almost twice as fast as the IBM AT at about half the price. With a monitor, an AST AT clone would have cost you about $3,000 in 1986 or $6,600 in 2018 dollars. Now, being only one or two players in their space, they were in direct competition now with hundreds of other companies. Just take a look at this review of PCs from a PC Magazine roundup. With an innovative reputation and some of the highest build quality industry, AST rocketed to the fifth largest computer manufacturer in 1991, 92, and 93. It was based on its success that AST bought the Tandy Corporation and Technical Services offices in Fort Worth, Texas, along with a Grid name. Grid had been a government defense contractor for many years and was also an innovator. Grid, for example, had pioneered the use of the first static memory known as bubble memory, which was a great-grandfather of the modern SSD. What made the introduction of the PowerExec line so important to AST was that in order to compete with Compaq and IBM for the lucrative enterprise sector, they had to have a complete line of products. Grid gave them a sub and specialty notebooks. The AST desktops manufactured to that point were every bit as good as the two big boys, and AST had even found a way to get around Compaq and IBM's massive dealer network by offering excellent technical support for free for both its products and the ones it was OEMing. IBM and Compaq had no direct support, all going through dealers who charged a hefty fee for it. They would advertise that 1 in 5 PCs was an AST, or at least partially manufactured by AST. The latter, of course, was much more common, and the PowerExec series was supposed to help change that. To show you an example of that, let's look at this recent ad for replacement batteries for PowerExec. Look at how many computers it would fit into. AST made all of these. You can also see this by looking at pictures in a PC Magazine roundup. Not sure what happened with Dell, but they made sure PC Magazine readers knew they should not order an AST-made machine and order one of the other two available in this roundup. AST would never really reap the rewards of this effort. They spent too much money on Tandy, and even though it doubled their market share overnight, they just couldn't wait for the orders. Gateway would effectively replace their market share in 1994 and would remain the number 5 computer maker until the end of 1996, when by 1997, Dell held its guest dip on the industry and would never go. Knowing that they were losing market share, they desperately tried to enter the home computer fray by pushing big box retailers to take huge orders of units, promising them to cover the losses if they did not sell. Thanks to huge declines in sales due to quality issues, covering the losses meant the death of AST, selling out to Samsung in 1996 and closing by the end of the decade. But in 1993, at the absolute zenith of their success, they created one of the most expensive and feature-rich portable computing devices in the market. The PowerExec EL and SL Color Plus was nearly unrivaled, with a CPU upgrade slot, the most memory expansion ever made in a laptop, and an available TFT, which was the best display that had ever been produced. Even Gary Kildall was rumored to have purchased a first-generation AST laptop after seeing it on Computer Chronicles. The machine we're reviewing today would have cost over $8,000 in 2018 dollars, and that's still 50% less than a compact or half of what an IBM would cost. And even at twice the price, IBM could not compete in terms of speed or upgradability. I was able to plug in an external SCSI Panasonic CD-ROM drive in this machine and set it up in just a few minutes, something I could not have done at all on the IBM. A great deal of care was put into the engineering of this machine. The little company that could was shooting directly across IBM's bow for a slot with newly available Kensington lock and being able to exit BIOS without exiting Windows. It even had a separate button for sleep and to turn off the backlight to keep away prying eyes with no loss of valuable productivity time. AST was the only company other than IBM to have a hot swappable hard drive. And of course, we take L2 cache for granted these days, but most competitors, including Gateway and TI, did not use it, making their machines about 25% slower. And the video here does not do it justice, but this 9.5-inch TFT display was as bright and crisp as a Retina display is today, and that was 25 years ago. By contrast, the grayscale Sharp display on a Gateway Nomad was almost unwatchable and would break every time you couldn't cover a sneeze. Comparing this to other machines in its class, it seemed noticeably faster. I would even compare it to the speed of a Packard Bell desktop running Vessel Local Bus video. Battery life was abysmal at only a couple hours in real time as compared to the Gateway Nomad, which is triple that. At a whopping 9 pounds, that's over double the weight of most modern notebooks. It's difficult to quantify, however, the confidence AST would instill in you. It just feels substantial and well made, more like a ThinkPad or Compaq. The hundreds of competing laptops in the area were very fragile. While the keyboard was large and easy to type on, all ASTs of this era suffered from a gumming problem that would eventually render the keyboard unusable. With some silicone lubricant spray and a lot of practice, you could fix that problem. While the little trackball was innovative, the massive weight of the unit and placement of this device caused nearly a 100% failure rate due to breakage. AST did have a way to use the function keys to simulate a mouse, but reviewers complained they were difficult to use. This trackball is actually superglued onto the track chassis and didn't work either. With a TFT, they made this machine come in at nearly 8 pounds, stretching the limit of what a real portable could be. But the EL series was much lighter and thinner too. And these are nitpicking problems compared to what the off-brand laptops were like in their day. Common problems included a 5-minute out-of-the-box battery life, CPUs would singe your leg hair if you ever tried to actually use it on your lap. And there's no question if you had a lot of money and wanted the best in 1993, you had to consider AST.